All right, guys, welcome back to Crossman Productions. This has been such an amazing week. We had an amazing week last week with so many of our guests we had on. We had Bishop Stevens, we had Venus Monique, we had Mythological Joe, CJ Bernard helped us do a review on the Batman Heart of Ice movie. That was awesome. We had Katrina, Cuba. So we've had like a ton of some just awesome guests. And today I get to bring in another just amazing person. So I met Buddy Campbell through Olivia Disney whenever we did the review on Voorhees, Night of the Beast. And this guy has been busy. He's been busy since then. And You guys know that I've been binge watching the whole Vindication show. And while watching the Vindication show, guess what I see on the show? I see my buddy Campbell. So yeah, we're gonna bring him on. We're gonna see what he's been up to since last time we talked. Like I said, he's got some amazing projects out coming up. And I'm excited. I'm excited to see what he's been up to. So, and I want you guys too to get to know him personally. Just as a person and as an actor. So let's bring Buddy in. What's up, brother?
Hey, how's it going?
It's going good, man. I'm excited about having you back on the show, man.
Well, I appreciate the invite, and it's an honor to be on here.
Cool. I appreciate that. So yeah, I was telling him, we were talking a little bit before we got on here that I've gotten into this whole show, The Vindication. So it's funny because Ginger got me to watching The Chosen. She talked to me about The Chosen, which is also filmed here in Texas. So I went and binge watched a couple of seasons of that, and then she's like, "Hey, I want to introduce you to Venus Monique. She's doing a show called Vindication." So all right, so I'll go check it out. Check it out. Love the show. Love the show. Big fan of it. And then towards the end of the show, I'm watching. I don't want to give anything away for people who haven't seen it, but towards the end, I'm watching this last scene, and I see Buddy in it. I'm like, is that Buddy Campbell in it? So I don't know why I was surprised, to see or to hear that, who's going to be in season 3. I don't know why I was surprised about it, but I guess it's because you guys are in Arkansas. I didn't know that you guys are traveling to Texas to go do some films, and we're going to talk about that too. That's one of the questions I have for you. So let's get it started. So let's talk about kind of start from the beginning, where you were born and raised. Kind of what was life like for Buddy growing up?
Well, I was born up in the Ozark Mountains of Arkansas, and but we moved down to the River Valley of Arkansas, down around the city of Russellville. It's about halfway between Little Rock and Fort Smith, there in central Arkansas. So I grew up down there, but I still feel like a mountain boy from the Ozarks. And but I was actually adopted by my grandparents, and they had already had 2 single girls plus 3 sets of twins.
Oh wow!
3 sets of twins in 3.5 years.
Wow.
So I was their 9th child. And so
is it a 9th child?
9th child. Yeah, they had 8, including 3 sets of twins. And then they adopted me. And so I grew up with my grandparents. And it was just a typical small town life in Arkansas, small school that I graduated with about 55 other people. Wow. Was what we had. And but I went to I did plays in high school and really enjoyed that. And then in college did some plays as well. and I actually got a job during college reviewing movies for a local newspaper.
Oh, wow.
And so that really got me really fascinated with cinema. And so
Right.
before that, I would just go see a few movies every now and then that I wanted to see. But now that I had this job reviewing movies, I got to see all types of genres.
Right.
Even those that didn't interest me, as a teenager.
Right.
And so I just fell in love with all kinds of movies. And but then after college, I didn't think it was going to take me anywhere. So I got a real job in the real world. But then 20 some odd years later, I answered an open casting call for a movie called Greater. And it was shot in Fayetteville, Arkansas. It was about a Razorback football player who was an inspiration to everybody that knew him. It's about his life. He was from the Ozarks as well, and was a walk-on at Arkansas. And then by the time he was a senior, he was an All-American, and got drafted by the Indianapolis Colts. And the story was about him. But I auditioned for a character called Redneck Number One. And I didn't get the role, but they invited me back to play a high school teacher, just a background extra as a teacher. And so I got to be on set for this movie for a couple of scenes one day, and just caught the acting bug again. I'm like, man, this is incredible. I got to meet Neil McDonough, Leslie Easterbrook, and Nick Searcy's. People like that were in this movie, and so I got to get back doing this again. So I started taking acting classes in Little Rock. Shortly thereafter, I got cast in a short film, then another short film, and then speaking roles in bigger feature films, independent films, and then it just started snowballing from there. Kept honing my craft, and that was. I did Greater in 2013, and it wasn't until 2016 that I started getting speaking roles. But since then, the last 7 years, I've been in over 100 productions.
Oh, wow.
Including TV, movies, short films, web series, commercials, the whole gamut. It's been over 100 productions, and just having the time of my life.
Wow. So what was it like? So, in college, you're doing, you're reviewing movies, and then now you find yourself in movies. What was that like, from that transition? And, whenever you do your film, so you think it too, oh, somebody's going to critique this movie too.
Well, the first time you see yourself on the big screen is just surreal. I mean, it's just a dream come true. Tears come to your eyes whenever. And so when Greater aired in theaters, and even though I didn't have any lines, I was just background. I just saw myself up there, and it was like the greatest accomplishment in my life, just for that.
Right.
And so I've been in a few more movies that have been on the big screen, and each time it's just the most amazing feeling. But at the same time, you're your own worst critic,
right?
And so you're like, everybody's watching this, people are reviewing this, and so it keeps you on your game. And when you are actually shooting the film, you got to know that people are going to see this, and so you need to take pride in your work, and you want it to be the most excellent thing you've ever done. And so that's my goal every time I'm filming.
Right. So do you remember the moment that you decided that this was your passion, this is your kind of your purpose, and this is what you wanted to pursue for the rest of your life? Because you said did you kind of find a real job, 9 to 5, and then you went into acting? Was there a moment that you're like, hey, I made the right decision, this is what I want to do for a living? Do you remember that moment?
Well, I'm still doing the 9 to 5 job, and at the same time, but I'm counting down the days till I can retire from that to do this full time.
Right.
And so, but yeah, I don't know if there was a single moment, but that first couple of years, I was just enjoying what I was doing. My grandmother had passed, my mother had passed, and there was nothing keeping me from living my dreams after that.
Right.
I was their primary caretakers during the last few years when I first started acting, and couldn't stay away from home very much. But then I was able to travel, and since then I've shot in 13 states so far.
Oh, wow.
And been all over the South and the Midwest doing this, and there's nothing else I want to do for the rest of my life. Just finish out my last couple of years with my day job, go into doing this full time, and it's just what I want to do. And if it's not in front of the camera, I'm writing now.
Right.
I'm producing, doing some small time directing as well. So in some form or fashion, I want to be involved in the movie business the rest of my life.
Right. Well, you're definitely well on your way. And the other thing too is you're such a diverse actor. I have no doubt that you're going to go full time into this. I mean, like for me, I've seen you in several different projects. I saw you in the Voorhees. I saw you in the Batman movie, which you did an excellent job in the Batman movie. CJ and
2 Batman movies.
Oh, 2. Okay, I haven't seen the first one. I saw the Heart of Ice.
Mm-hmm.
So CJ Bernard and I did a movie review on it. When it came out. So,
but that was hysterical. CJ's just the greatest guy to be around, because he's the funniest dude in person that you've ever met.
Right. I love the guy. He's so cool. I've had him on a couple of times. And then, when we did the Voorhees, I felt so bad because when we did the Voorhees Night of the Beast, we had, Jason Pistom's on it, Olivia, Will Reed was there, James Stokes. We had everybody. And CJ, for some reason, he kept losing connection. So every time we'd ask a question, he would drop off before he can answer. And so, so I said, all right, CJ, I'm bringing you back in. I'm just going to give you your own segment, and we'll just talk, So I brought him in, and then later, because we were talking about some of his favorite movies, and I said, okay, look, I'm going to bring you back in, and we're going to do a movie review for the Batman movie. So, yeah, we had a blast doing it. That was a lot of fun. But, yeah,
did CJ tell you about what such a fan of Batman he was even before this, that he wears Batman socks every day?
Oh, you didn't tell me about the Batman socks, but he told me he was a big fan. And I noticed, too, at the end of the credits that he actually did some of the voiceover for Batman.
But, yeah, you should go back and watch Will's. Will Reed was the director of both the Batman films that I was in. The first one's called Batman Under the Red Hood.
Okay.
And it's a feature-length fan film, and Will plays the Joker himself.
Right.
And so he does an incredible job with that. But he had me playing the mayor in the first movie.
Okay.
And so I played the mayor in that one, and then he brought me back for the Heart of Ice. And I'm like, are you really wanting me back for this? Because, it didn't turn out so well for me in the first one, and now you want me to play a different character. So, yeah, it's fine. No problem. So I got to be a Batman villain in this second one. I was just I was the mayor, but I wasn't a good guy, but I wasn't a villain either. But in this one, I was a full-fledged villain playing Calendar Man.
Right.
And from what I understand, what people have told me is that I'm the first actor to ever play Calendar Man in a movie, ever.
Wow.
He was in the comics, but was never brought to the big screen until now, into a movie.
Right.
And so that was an honor to hear that. And,
right.
I've got a lot of good responses from people that have commented on it, saying how much they enjoyed my performance. So yeah, that was a big thrill to be calendar man for the first time.
Right. Yeah, that was, and I thought you did a phenomenal job on it, in that film. And then, so, and what I was saying too, they say you're such a diverse actor. So I've seen you in different roles. And so for your 9 to 5 job, and you want to go full time, I could totally see you. And I think too that the doors are opening up, especially with with the project Vindication, because the shows are getting, I don't say the shows are getting bigger, but they're getting more mainstream and more
more nationwide.
Yeah. So and so that's giving you more exposure too. And so with your talent, I have no doubt that you're going to make it out there.
I appreciate that. But yeah, I've done everything from faith-based movies to slasher movies, and so when I did my first slasher movie, when I was growing up, I wasn't that big a fan of horror movies. I would go see the big ones, the Friday the 13th, part 44, however many they made. And we would see those, saw the all the Halloweens and so forth. But when I actually started, was asked to do my first one, it was a big thrill. Then I realized how much fun they were to be in and to make, and so I really enjoy being in the slasher movies. And even though they're not for everybody, and but also really love the faith-based movies as well. Being a Christian actor, I enjoy those movies as well. Ones that I can bring everybody to and invite the whole family to see, which I can't do on the horror movies. They're just for a specific audience. But I've done a couple of comedies now in recent years as well. I did a comedy pilot that I'm real proud of. It's called Kane, Walker, and Streaker. We shot it in Tennessee. The director called me up, and I'd worked with her before, and she said, "Got a role for you in this pilot." I'm like, "Oh, okay." She said, "It's a comedy, and you're going to be playing a streaker." And I said, "Do what?" "Have you seen me?" she laughed and said, "No, your name is Streaker, Raymond Streaker." I'm like, "Oh, okay." Thank God, because I would need a body double if I was playing. My character had to be streaking. And I said, "Yeah, I don't mind. Actually, I don't mind being bottomless. I just don't want to be topless. Because my round figure, I don't want to be topless." So, but anyway, real proud of that one. And I play an old man in a nursing home, and so Kane, Walker, and Streaker, the three lead characters. That's our last names: Will McCain, Edna Walker, and Norman Streaker is my character. So that's how it gets its name. But looking forward to that, and hopefully it'll get picked up. If it gets picked up, the pilot gets picked up, then we'll make a full series out of it.
Right. And you mentioned too the faith-based movies. This is something I was talking to Venus about too. Is that I think that with The Chosen and shows like Vindication, these shows are starting to get more mainstream. And not only that, but they're even with Jesus Revolution, the movie, doing so well in the box office. I think more people are wanting to see more of that type of film, or that kind of genre. And so I think it's starting to get more popular in the mainstream.
Yeah, and if I mention too, the God's Not Dead series,
right,
or series of movies, the franchise.
Right.
I got to be in God's Not Dead Part 3. Oh, wow. I was just a uh, a featured extra in it as well. But I got to be on set with Ted McGinley and Tatum O'Neal and people like that. It was shot in Little Rock. Or God's Not Dead 2 and 3 were shot in Little Rock, and then they recently shot season 4 in Oklahoma City, and they just announced season 5, and they're doing the casting for it. I say season 5, I mean part 5, and they're shooting it in South Carolina, and the first one was in Louisiana. So they're trying to bring it, around the country as well on different topics. But David White has done a phenomenal job with that franchise as well.
Right, and that was one of the first franchises that started the movement. Was the God's Not Dead series with the first one with Kevin Sorbo. Yeah. So, I mean that was a phenomenal series too.
I just wanted to throw out that I may or may not be involved with an upcoming movie with Kevin Sorbo. I can't confirm or deny that right now.
That's awesome. That's what I'm saying. That's what I think, dude. I know you're gonna make it out there, man. I mean, you're attached to some really great projects, and then with your your talent, your ability, there's no doubt you're gonna get it. So let me ask you this: you've been doing this, for a little bit. What is the biggest lesson that you've learned so far?
I don't want to do a blanket statement of don't trust anybody, but trust and verify when you're told something, especially about salary and pay and so forth. Get things in writing.
Right.
When I was growing up, a spoken word and handshake was gold. In this industry, it's not. So that's one lesson that I learned, and did a movie or two for deferred pay, which is sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. Usually it doesn't, from what I've been told. But do not spend a lot of your own money making a movie on deferred pay. Wow. That was a big lesson I learned, because deferred pay usually means no pay.
Right.
And you used your own resources for nothing.
Wow. And were those your movies, or were they somebody else's movies?
They were somebody else's movie. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes it pretty tough.
Yeah. So, that was a lesson learned. But the experience led to me meeting a lot of good people, a lot of good actors, and made some lifelong friends. And I'm glad the situation happened, because I wouldn't have met these people and wouldn't have learned these lessons as quickly as I did. So it was worth it in the long run. And so it has led to a bunch of these upcoming movies that I've got coming up were because I met these people while working on those films. Right. And I'll go ahead and say that's how I met James Stokes. That's how I met Kelly Lane. Oh, wow. That's how I met Zeb Sloan. Wow. And so those are great people too. They're great. They're great people, and we are going to be filming a movie in Kentucky next month. A huge project that has the three of them in it, and a few more people you might have heard of. But it's going to be called the Ghost of the Big Sandy. Okay. Yeah. It's a kid's adventure movie. Zeb Sloan is one of the teenagers. His parents are going to be James Stokes and Kelly Lane. And he has another young actor playing his brother, and his real life cousin, Mahala. She's going to be playing his cousin in this movie as well, but it's about these three teenagers going on an adventure looking for ghosts, and they end up uncovering some secrets from the past that have a big bearing in the world today. And so, really looking forward to shooting that next month.
Cool. There's a couple of things that James is in. I just got through interviewing Bishop Stevens. I don't know if you know who he is. He's Bishop was telling me he's doing a movie with James. So James is getting out there too as well.
Yeah, he shot with him at least once already, I know, a couple years ago. And but yeah, James is blowing up big time. He's doing a lot of big budget films around the country, and he's even went to Europe, shot a action film over there. I don't know if I'm supposed to say that or not. So that's all I can say about it. You can ask him about it sometime. But yeah, he's got an agent over in London, and so James is getting huge. He was able to go into this full time now, and that's what we all aspire to do. Right.
Yeah. Last time I talked to him, he just gotten back from a Comic-Con, and I saw that, and Jason Pitts was with him at one of the Comic-Cons he went to.
If it was the one I went to, I was there as well. It was a couple weekends ago in Fort Smith, Arkansas.
Yeah.
It was, the Fort Smith Comic-Con.
Cool. What is that like going to a Comic-Con and you're actually there to meet the fans?
Well, I was just there as a fan myself. I wasn't, didn't have a booth or a panel like James and Jason did. But I'd only been to one other Comic-Con in my life, and that was 20 some odd years ago. That they had one in Little Rock, and I was able to meet. That was before I got into acting, and so I was there as a fan and got to meet some big names going from booth to booth, and that was when I first met Danielle Harris. And little did I know that I would be doing a movie with her 20 some odd years later. And so I've got a movie coming up with her, but I got to meet Adrian King from the first Friday the 13th.
Right.
And got to meet PJ Souls, Linnea Quigley, but the biggest name that I met that night was Linda Blair. And so still to this day, I think the original Exorcist is the scariest movie I've ever seen.
Wow.
It's still creepy to this day, even though it's a little bit dated with the special effects. It still creeps me out to watch it. But she's all grown up now, and she's been a successful actress since then. And it was a thrill to meet her. But that was 20 some odd years ago. But the one I went to in Fort Smith was not as big to that scale, but it was still fun to walk around and see some of the I'm not a comic guy myself, even though I was in the Batman movies, but there was a lot of comic actors that was there that I didn't know who they were, but there's a lot of professional wrestlers there as well. So got to see the Honky Tonk Man for the first time.
That'd be fun.
Yeah. I grew up a wrestling fan when I was a kid, and so I remembered him from the day.
Right. And that was the thing talking about to Bishop, because Bishop is Junkyard Dog's nephew. And,
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So he was talking about growing up around Junkyard Dog and getting to hang out with some of the the people from them. That's Hulk Hogan, Andre the Giant. He was talking about how big Andre the Giant actually is, which I can imagine. That's pretty cool. So
I got to see Andre the Giant when I was a kid. They used to bring wrestling to Russellville, Arkansas, a lot at the university there, and so Andre the Giant came to Russellville. Got to see him wrestle Jimmy Superfly Snuka.
That'd been a good one right there.
So, yeah, I got to see that, and I saw JYD, Junkyard Dog, him, and that's back when him and Hacksaw Jim Duggan were partners. And
Right,
so, yeah, those were the days. I got to see Ric Flair back in the day wrestling Little Rock. He defended his title against Magnum TA, and that
right,
was, yeah, I enjoyed it back then, but sort of fell out of watching wrestling, after college. And
right,
but yeah, I could still talk wrestling as long as it's the old names.
right. And it's funny because, like back in the, I guess, 80s, 90s, um, those wrestlers were just, I guess wrestling was so popular back then. When you were younger, they had the whole cartoon series. You had all the action figures. It was every Saturday morning you're getting up to watch a wrestling match. So I remember all that stuff growing up, and I was like, man, it's kind of changed a little bit now, but yeah, just to be able to like when he was talking about when he was younger, going to see those wrestlers, and then the first time he walked into the ring, and those wrestlers got to see him, was there to see him, how special of a moment that was for him. So I thought that was pretty cool. So I was going to ask you. So I mean, you're such a diverse actor. I've seen you play like several different roles, and you're phenomenal at it. Is there a particular role that or a movie that you would love to be in? You're like, hey, look, this is my character, and this is what I want to do.
Well, I'm too old for it now, but if I was 30 years younger, I would have killed to play Doc Holliday in Tombstone.
Mm.
Probably still yet my favorite movie character ever.
Right.
And yeah, I could quote Doc all day. And but I grew up like most boys from the South, grew up loving Westerns.
Right.
And so yeah, I would. I've done one Western so far. We shot it in Kentucky a couple years ago, and it'll be coming out sometime over the next year, hopefully, and we'll be able to talk about more of it at that time. But yeah, I got to wear a cowboy hat and the boots and actually be in a Western. That was a thrill. Right. But I would love to do more Westerns if I could. If they could even make like a Bonanza movie today or a Gunsmoke movie today, I would love to be in it. So those were the shows that I grew up on, growing up in the 70s. Just right. Watch Bonanza, every reruns of Bonanza and Gunsmoke all the time, Big Valley, and so forth.
Right. Yeah. My dad used to watch those too. And my dad was a huge, he still is a huge John Wayne fan. Like everything around my dad's house is John Wayne. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I grew up watching a lot of Westerns. And it would be fun. That would be fun to do Westerns.
Yeah.
And that's the thing.
Yeah, Clint Eastwood or Sam
right.
Elliott. There's still a possibility I could be in one of their movies.
Right.
Even though Clint just turned 93, I believe. I saw where his next movie is. The announcement came out on it, and he's going to be directing another movie here at 93 years old.
That's crazy. But he's such a talented actor too. I mean, and then. Not just a talented actor, he's also a very talented director as well.
Sure. Yeah.
That he puts out. I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing that guy's 93.
Yeah, and the Oscar he did win was for Best Director.
Right.
And he's directed just about every movie he's been in since the 80s.
Right.
Just 2 or 3 exceptions to that, but yeah, he just loves making the movie himself. Even in some of the movies he directed, he wasn't even in. So he's more of a director first now.
Right.
But he's done even at his age, doing movies like Gran Torino
Right.
and Million Dollar Baby, and he'll be doing it until he's not around anymore.
Right.
I'm convinced he'll never retire.
And Gran Torino was such an awesome movie too. That was a great movie.
But Sam Elliott's the same way. He was,
Right.
he got his first Oscar nomination, ironically enough, in a movie about music. With The Star Is Born, the remake of that a few years ago, and
Right.
playing Bradley Cooper's big brother, even though he was like 40 years older than him. But Sam's great. He was in the 1883 series that a lot of that was shot, down there around Fort Worth. And Sam's incredible. Kurt Russell's another one. Robert Duvall. Kevin Costner does great westerns. And then he's of course in the modern day western Yellowstone.
Yeah.
So.
And that was what I was going to say. You talk about being in a western. I can actually see you in a show like Yellowstone.
Well, a good friend of mine from Little Rock actually did an episode of Yellowstone. He was cast. Actor named Barry Clifton was in. Had a nice appearance. Did a scene in this past season of Yellowstone, and it was huge for him. And I would love to do something like that. And a good friend of mine from Missouri named Caleb Martin was a regular in the 1923 series.
Oh.
One of the spinoffs of or prequels of Yellowstone. Him and I have the same agent. All three of us have the same agent. So I'm like, I'm waiting for my turn, for that to come around.
So, and I can definitely see you in it. I could definitely see you in that in Yellowstone, especially with the type of characters that Kevin Costner comes across. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll play a bad guy. I do. Most of the times I am cast as a villain because I'm a big guy. And so people see me as physically imposing, and so that's kind of my brand as an actor. I usually get cast as the villains, the bad guys, or somebody in authority, like a lawyer or a cop or detective. And so so when I can play something other than that, it's always fun to branch out. But yeah, I'll play a bad guy. I'll play the bodyguard to the bad guy in Yellowstone or whatever. Yeah, that would be incredible.
So I can see you as like a land developer coming in, or one of the government officials, or somebody coming in on Yellowstone. I can definitely see that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I can get down dirty and play the blue collar type, or I can get in a suit, like you saw in Vindication, and play the politician type as well. So
exactly. All right, so Yellowstone, you guys got to get reach out and get Buddy on the show.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about some of the projects that you've done now. You've done, so you've done Vindication, you've done Voorhees. So first of all, because we've had you come on, and we talked about some of the older films. For those who missed those, definitely go check them out, because you could go watch Voorhees on Netflix, and then you can see, you can see the Batman.
Voorhees is on YouTube.
It's on YouTube. Yeah, it's on YouTube. And so is
all fan films have to be on YouTube. They can't make money on them. So yeah.
Okay. So I was thinking the other movie they did, Masquerade. That one, that one's on Netflix.
Yeah, I wasn't directly involved in that one, but Olivia and CJ were phenomenal in it. Bailey Freeman was incredible in Masquerade.
And then Voorhees is on YouTube. The Batman movie's on YouTube.
And the Voorhees sequel is also on YouTube.
What's the sequel? I just saw something about that today. Actually, I saw it on your IGN Yeah.
IMDb,
Yes,
Internet Movie Database.
right. I saw that on there. There was was it After the Beast? What was it
Yes,
called?
yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
After.
the first one was called Voorhees Night of the Beast, and the sequel is called Voorhees After the Beast. Now it's only about a 15-minute follow up,
Okay.
and but I CJ and I were in Sierra Ebert. Um, we were the only three returning actors from Night of the Beast.
Right.
CJ and I didn't get killed,
Right.
so our characters are still alive. Sierra came back in flashbacks in the sequel.
Okay.
And so she was able to reprise her role for a scene in that one. But yeah, it's only about 15 minutes long, but it was still a nice little short film, fan film. And we shot it in Hot Springs, Arkansas, instead of going all the way to Kentucky. So we just, CJ and I are both from Arkansas, and of course Jason Pitts is as well.
Right.
And James Stokes is from Nashville, but he drove in from there to do the sequel. So yeah, it's a nice little film as well.
Cool. So I'm definitely going to go back and check that one out. So I just found out about that one today. And then Vindication. I want to ask you about Vindication. So, we talked about you being in the finale of Vindication. How did that come about? Like, because you're in Arkansas, and like I said, I was watching the show. And I'm like, is that Buddy? Is that Buddy in Vindication? So as soon as I did that, I hit you up. I sent a message. And I'm like, dude, I just saw you in Vindication. So how did that kind of come about? When did you find out about Vindication?
Well, yeah, it was my agent, Jean Seligwanger, Treasure Coast Talent. She is the agent for a lot of the actors on Vindication, and she's friends with Jared O'Flaherty as well, the writer and director of Vindication. And got a message from the casting director, Ronnie Hummel, who is local there to the Dallas area.
Right.
And said that Jared would like for me to play a character in one of the upcoming episodes. Would I be available?
Right.
Yes. He's like, if it's too far to drive from Little Rock, he understands. No, it's not too far to drive. I will definitely make that trip for this show. I love the show. So that's how it came about. I don't have a big role in it, but just the small part that I had in the season finale of season 2 was just an incredible experience. I've never been around a group of cast and crew that were as nice as they were, and it's great to work with. They're just all phenomenal people, and all the big names that everybody recognized. They are as great an actor as Todd Terry is. He's even a better person.
Wow.
And Peggy Schott, Venus Monique, Steve Mokate, all of these guys, T.C. Stallings in season 2, just incredible people. Candace Kirkpatrick played Janet in season 2 and recurring character, and she was just phenomenal in that. But she was one of the few that I actually knew before Vindication. She's an incredible actress from Nashville, and I had met with her before and had lunch with her on one of my trips through Nashville, and we were already friends. But all of these actors from Vindication, as soon as I sat on the set, I was treated as family, and just one of the gang. And I just love every time I went down there was just the best experience. And hopefully there's more to come.
Wow. Yeah, and that's the thing too. I was talking to Venus about is that cast seems like a phenomenal cast. I mean, they all even individually in their role, just did such an awesome job. And that's the thing too. I was talking about the faith-based movies, is that um, years back when faith-based movies came out, they were low budget. A lot of people didn't put a lot. They didn't have the money to put in like the big production companies. So what I've noticed with like shows like Vindication and um, I just
The Chosen.
The Chosen. The
Yeah.
thing I've realized with them is that they're starting to actually put some a budget behind it, and the quality of the film is looking really it's starting to show, and then the writing is phenomenal.
Well, the knock on faith-based films for decades were they were preaching to the choir.
Right.
They were just reinforcing Christians to what they already knew. And so now they're starting, the scripts are reaching out to a wider audience, and they include topics that they wouldn't touch, faith-based films wouldn't touch before. And what I love about Vindication is that it is a faith-based crime series. For those who haven't seen it or don't know anything about it, it is a faith-based crime series that deals with difficult topics. It deals with murders, it deals with drugs, it deals with assaults, it deals with human trafficking.
Right.
An episode of that, so it doesn't shy away from the tough topics,
Right.
But they do it in a way that's not obscene or offensive to the Christian viewer.
Right.
And so it's got such a great following now, just a huge fan base, that if you go onto social media and you read, there's different Facebook pages for Vindication, you start reading that people are just begging for the next season. When's it going to be released? I mean, they are just chomping at the bit, waiting for another season of it, and just can't wait to get to it. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I'll definitely wait, especially with the way season 2 ended with who's in the body bag. So yeah, I was saying the same thing to Venus. I know you guys can't say what happened, with season 3, but the other thing too is Pureflix has got to pick up the pace and not drag things along so much that we have to wait so long to see the next season. Because the fans, we're excited about it, but we have to wait till September. So
well, one blessing for Jared that was that while filming was taking place on season 3 of Vindication last summer, he announced that his wife and him were having a new baby.
Oh, okay. So
it's so so he has a little baby girl that's probably less than a year old now.
Wow.
And so he had to first be husband and dad for a while there. So
right.
Such just the cutest little baby you've ever seen. But that added to it as well.
Wow. So that's good stuff. That's awesome for him and his family. Congratulations, Jerry, on that. So yeah, awesome. So let's talk about some of the new projects that you have.
Well, I touched on one of them a few minutes ago, called The Ghosts of the Big Sandy.
Right.
And again, the Big Sandy is the river that divides Kentucky and West Virginia, and it's based on a novel by Eddie Hartshorn called The Ghosts of the Big Sandy, and it's right there in the middle of the Hatfields McCoys part of the country, even though that storyline doesn't have anything to do with the movie. But it's in Louisa, Kentucky, and Louisa is where we shot the first Voorhees movie.
Oh, okay.
So that area is where we're going back for this one. So Joe Robertson is directing it. he was very instrumental in the Voorhees movie. He was on the crew with that, and I did a short film that he directed for me called Louisa, that I wrote specifically to shoot in the town of Louisa, that starred James and I, and had Kelly Lane and Cindy Reed and Larae C. and Zeb Sloan playing James's son. That was a nice little short film about a class reunion that we shot in Louisa, Kentucky, a couple of years ago, and real proud of that one. And Joe Robertson was the director on that one. And then Joe and I went up to Lebanon, Ohio, about a year later, and I wrote another short film that was shot in 2 days called The Shrew. Okay. And that's another one that'll be available to the public before too long. So, the Ghost of the Big Sandy is the big one coming up. Right. And got a movie that's about to be released this year called Roadkill that was shot in the Panhandle of Florida, and it stars Caitlin Carmichael, Ryan Knudsen, and the legendary Danielle Harris from the Halloween movies. She was a teenager in those movies, and she's all grown up now, and she's done a lot of horror movies since then. She was actually one of the leads in the Rob Zombie Halloween remake. Oh, wow. As well, but she's in this, and I play a coroner in the movie, and it's set in 1983. It's called Roadkill. It's written and directed by Warren Fast, an incredible director from Panama City, Florida, and I was very fortunate to get cast in that movie, and looking forward to that. The trailer for it is available right now on YouTube, and encourage people to check that out. And I got to have a couple of lines that can be seen for a few seconds in the trailer as well for Roadkill. So very excited about that movie coming out. Got a movie coming out later this year that was a faith-based film that was shot in Indiana back in the fall, called Disciples in the Moonlight. Oh, wow. Okay. And can't comment too much about it, but a few of the names we've mentioned tonight are also in that movie. Okay, cool. Definitely be on the lookout for that. It's going to be, when I read the script for that, I was just blown away with it, about how pertinent this storyline is today for Christians, because it deals with topics that are not too far in our future, and don't want to be too vague about it, but it's called Disciples in the Moonlight. So it's on IMDb. You can see who's in it on there, and awesome. Those are, but Disciples in the Moonlight and Roadkill are the two big ones coming out this later this year that people can go see. Awesome. So now, if somebody wants to kind of follow your career, what's the best way, like social media, for them to be able to follow you? Well, they can see everything that I've been a part of on IMDb. For those who don't know, that stands for Internet Movie Database. IMDb.com. You can type in Buddy Campbell in the search bar, and it'll show all the projects I've done. Many of them I'm not proud of. So when you're doing small budget movies early in a career, you just don't know until you do them and they come out, and some of them are, oh my goodness, what was I thinking here? So but they all add to the learning experience. Oh, they definitely learn to. Yeah. It's like your kids. You're not proud of all of them, but they're all a learning experience.
Right.
But yeah, everybody's had a job in their past that they wish they never have taken, but it was a learning experience. So yeah, but I'm on social media as well. My Facebook page, people can find me pretty easy on that. I'm one of the few Buddy Campbells in the country, and Instagram, Twitter, Buddy Campbell. You can find me on there pretty easy as well.
Cool. And what we'll do is we'll put some links at the bottom in the description field so people can click on the links and go check them out. So definitely go check out the Voorhees. Go check out the Batman movies. Go check out definitely check out Vindication and all the new stuff. The Roadkill and the Disciples in the Moonlight. That one sounds really good too. I'm excited to see that one as well.
I also want to mention I have a screenplay that I wrote myself. That's a family Christmas movie. It was nominated for screenplay down at the Content Film Festival down in your area, down around Weatherford, Texas, at Capernaum Studios down there. That's where they filmed The Chosen. Is that
okay? Cool. Yeah.
Capernaum Studios, but there's a big film festival there every year for faith-based films, and my screenplay was nominated down there a few years ago. It's called Coyote Creek, and we're looking for investors for it right now, and hopefully make it into a feature film. But like I said, it's a family Christmas movie for whole family can watch. I'm real proud of it, but it's my first feature-length script that I've got finished. So
wow.
I'm trying to branch off into screenwriting as well.
Cool. And are you thinking about doing directing as well, like as to add with your screenwriting?
It's a possibility, but it'd just be small, low-budget stuff is what I've directed so far. I don't have the training of a director. I didn't go to film school for a director, but I've learned. I pay attention when I'm on set and learn, and trying to learn hands-on when I'm on set about every job on a film set. I can, I don't object to holding a boom mic or holding a light. If somebody needs me, I'll do whatever needs to be done. But I think that's to be a good director and to be a good writer and director. It helps to have been an actor, to have been a gaffer, to have held a boom mic, just every aspect of filmmaking. It helps you with that particular discipline as well. So being well-rounded as an actor, writer, and director really helps. You see, and when you're writing, you see things from all vantage points that way, and I think it helps with the story.
And that's one of the things that Venus said about you too. She's like, she said that Buddy Campbell is one of the most helpful people that she's met in this industry. So
when I was talking earlier about how nice everybody was in Vindication and treating you as family, Venus even exceeds that. She when I shot for that season finale of season 2, I did not get to meet her that trip because we didn't have any scenes together. But subsequent trips I made down there, I was able to meet her, and when we would break for lunch, for just one instance here, I was standing in line with her, while we were getting our food off the table. She went and sat down, and then I, got mine and was looking for a place to sit, and I had just, didn't know her that well. But I could hear her say, "Hey, buddy," motion me over, sit here, and then she started asking questions, where'd you grow up? How'd you get into acting? And started actually, I'm like, wow, someone who's actually caring about getting to know me. That's unheard of, on other sets. But in
Right.
Vindication, that's how they are. And Venus was just incredible, uh, just an inspiration to me about how nice she was on set and getting to know you as a person, not just wanting to go over lines with you.
Right.
And so yeah, she's one of the good people in the industry, and just love her to death.
Wow. Well, cool, man. Well, thank you. Thank you so much, brother, for being on the show. It's been a pleasure, man. It's been a pleasure to get to hear about your journey, and I'm excited, man. I'm excited about all the things that you have coming up, and to see the progression, of your craft and films and where you're going. I'm telling you'll be you won't have to worry about that 9 to 5 because your 9 to 5 will be doing this movie stuff. So I'm telling you, I see it, man. I see it. So remember Yellowstone, you got to get Buddy on the show. So we're pushing for it.
Well, well, thank you so much for having me on and for the kind words. And I'll be sending your check to you. It'll be in the mail for the kind words. But yeah, it was just an honor to be here. I can talk movies with anybody, anytime, for as long as they want. Like I said, those years I was reviewing movies, I just became such a fan of cinema. And even today, with all these, just about any movie in the world you can get on your TV now,
Right.
at the drop of a hat. You don't have to go look for them in video stores anymore. And so old classics that I've never seen before, I'm watching them now.
Right.
I'm watching the old Gary Cooper movies, the Humphrey Bogart movies, and I'm seeing Spencer Tracy. I'm watching Marlon Brando, and I just love movies and performing, and when it comes to writing, I get to write anything I want. That's the power of being a writer. Anything that comes to your head, you can put it down on paper, and that's the magic of writing. And I just love every aspect of it, and it's been kind to me so far, and I just want to keep doing it.
Right. And, that's one of the things I mention all the time after the pandemic is I think that there's more opportunity, and we have more technology available where it gives independent filmmakers, a bigger playing field.
There's more platforms now to showcase your movies.
Right.
It was the theater in the past. It was video rentals. It was reruns on TV, made for TV movies. And that was about it. And,
right.
But now with all these streaming services, they're looking for content, and people don't have to live in LA anymore to be an actor.
Right.
Used to be you had to audition in person. Now with Zoom technology and with self-taping at home and emails that you can tape your auditions yourself and send them in, it's making it a whole lot more accessible for people to be actors from anywhere in the world. And so it's given people like me the opportunity to be in movies that otherwise wouldn't have happened 20, 30 years ago.
And then I see these communities growing too. There's the community out in Florida that I talked to, the community that you're involved in with Arkansas, and now it's starting to, I see a community starting to grow here in Texas with these shows like The Chosen and Vindication. It's helping. So I'm excited about it. I'm excited about where it's going.
I mean, Capernaum Studios is an incredible boost for Texas, for that region, for that Dallas-Fort Worth region, with all the stuff they're making there. And with Tyler Sheridan, with what he's doing with the Yellowstone series, he's from Texas,
right?
And so, he's making it cool to film in Texas again. And he's bringing the modern day cowboy genre back.
Right.
And so that's going to be a big boon for Texas and for Oklahoma as well. A lot of westerns are shot just across the Red River there in Oklahoma, and
Right.
a lot of opportunity there. And Arkansas is starting to grow a little bit. We've got a studio in Fayetteville, Arkansas now, and we've got another studio coming in Fort Smith as well. So, and a lot of Lifetime movies have been shot in Little Rock over the last few years, and so it's becoming a player. And some tax incentives for the movie industry were passed by the legislature, which is attracting these
Right.
new filmmakers. And of course, there in Louisiana, a lot of stuff is made down in New Orleans. So this Mid-South area is really booming between Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Louisiana. And Mississippi's getting a lot of movies made there as well.
Great. I know we're in Texas. We're excited about it. We're excited.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And I want to, I'm excited because it's so close. There's some of the sets that I'm trying to get on and do a live show from, because I'm so close to them. I'm an hour away from Vindication. I'm an hour away from where The Chosen is. So, yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, I am too. And yeah, Chosen's kind of hard for me to get involved in. Being a blue-eyed blonde, it's
Right.
hard to look like you're a biblical character, but there's plenty of other shows, and I was fortunate to be in Vindication, and that's been a true blessing to be a part of that.
Well, cool. Well, again, man, thank you so much, brother, for being on. And you're welcome back anytime. So whenever the new projects come out, we're definitely gonna have you come back in. And you know what we maybe do? Because you are a true movie critic, we got to find a movie, and I got to bring you in, and we got to do a movie review. We'll just have to figure out what movie that's going to be.
All right, that sounds good. Yeah.
All right, cool.
I would enjoy that. I've been helping a friend of mine with his with his YouTube page recently, and we just did a video of us listing our top 10 favorite westerns of all time.
Okay.
And so I'll send you a link to that you can look at. But yeah, we were excited to do that, and I may even start my own YouTube channel sometime and start putting videos on there. I've got a channel, but I really don't have anything on there. But yeah, we did that. We even we did our 10 favorite horror villains of all time. We did that list, and we also, just to show that we're not too one-sided, we went out and did our top 10 favorite game show hosts of all time as well.
You definitely should do a YouTube show.
Yeah. But my vote will always be Gene Rayburn, greatest game show host ever. Classic match game.
Well, brother. All right, till next week, guys. Thank you guys for joining us. Oh, remember to hit and subscribe, like, comment, share, hit the notification bell, so that when we have these interviews come up, you guys will be aware. Remember to check out the new merch store. We have some new T-shirts. We have the uniquely designed for the purpose shirts, and we just brought out the Always Moving Forward shirts. So check out that merchandise on crossmanproductions.com. Until next week, remember, you are uniquely designed with a purpose, and always keep moving forward. Peace.